Hello everybody and welcome! Season 2 in Rainbow Six Siege Operation Phantom Sight is now live. So if you have the season pass, you can play the two new operators Nokk on attack and Warden on defense. And in this video I wanted to share with you some of the important changes coming with this patch. But before we do get into that, Ubisoft yesterday revealed at E3 that they will be launching a new game next year, Rainbow Six Quarantine. I've recently uploaded a video with the official trailer for this new game Quarantine, and there will be a link in the description down below, so do go and check that out. Very exciting stuff. But for now, let's get into these patch notes. So as we know, the test server for Operation Phantom Sight has now been running for 3 weeks, and Phantom Sight has now officially launched into the live build. And over those 3 weeks of the test server, there have been a number of changes. But first of all here, we're going to take a look at the patch addendum. First of all, we're taking a look here at balance changes in gameplay, and first of all it's the stealth gauge for Vigil and Caveira. Now some of you may have noticed from the gameplay that I uploaded of Operation Phantom Sight that when you're using Nokk's special ability, it doesn't have a cooldown time as such, and you can actually use it as and when you please as long as there is at least 20% in the refill bar. This personally I think is a much better way of utilising their gadgets. Rather than having to use it in one burst and then wait for it to refill, being able to turn it off and on whenever you like, provided you've got at least 20%, just in my opinion makes it so much better. But do let me know what you think about that. Next up we're taking a look at Frost, and it looks like she could be getting a bit of a nerf, and they're reducing Frost's welcome mats to 66 health points down from 100. This is of course a massive change, and they say that by reducing the health points from Frost traps, they aim at making them easier to destroy. At 100 health points, they felt that Frost mats were sometimes too hard to destroy, and they want cautious players to be rewarded accordingly. And I completely understand that they had to bring it down from 100, but I'm just not sure if 66 seems to be a little bit too much. Again, do let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section down below. You're almost going to have to do 50% less damage to those frost mats to destroy them. Does seem a bit excessive to me. Here we can see that Kaid is losing his barbed wire, and instead he will be gaining a nitro cell. Again, this one does seem a little bit strange to me, because Kaid having barbed wire just seems like it goes hand in hand with his electro claw. Obviously it's a point of denial, being able to electrify that barbed wire, but now him having a nitro cell, it's definitely something that I wouldn't be able to utilise personally as well as what I could with electrifying barbed wire. Next up here, it looks like we've got a little bit of a buff to pulse, and they decreased the pulse cardiac sensor unequipping time to 0.65 seconds down from 0.8. Now I know 0.15 of a second doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it is definitely an improvement. And they've justified this by saying, increasing the swap speed of Pulse's gadget, they are trying to make Pulse's gadget a bit more appealing and comfortable to use during a round. And the feedback that they received during the test server over the past few weeks, they say they feel that 0.65 is a good middle ground. Lastly here for these operators, we have Twitch, and she's actually getting a nerf to her F2 assault rifle. So they've increased the recoil for the F2 assault rifle, and they say that as an operator with one of the highest performance and pick rates, having one of the most powerful weapons in her hand has made her a little bit too powerful. And as such, they've increased the recoil on the FAMAS based on the feedback, and will continue monitoring for future changes. So this is something that's not absolutely set in stone, and they're going to be leaving the recoil where it is. This could possibly change in the future. There's some small sound propagation changes coming with this patch, and they say that they've been continuously working to gradually improve sound propagation in game and on the maps. With this Year 4 Season 2 update, they've made global improvements to sound propagation in order to address inconsistent results when interacting with reinforcements. They're making some changes to the Ubi Club challenges, trophies and achievements, and those of you that are subscribed to this channel will know that every Tuesday I upload a video updating you with this week's weekly club challenges. But they say that with this new season, the trophies and achievements are modified to offer challenges that are corresponding to the current Siege experience. So this is how different platforms will be impacted, and do keep in mind that completion criteria may have changed. So for PC and PS4, trophies trophies in progress and not finished will be reset, and trophies completed will still be completed, but their description and visual aspect will be updated. And for Xbox One, trophies in progress and not finished will see their progression carried over, and trophies completed will still be completed, but their description and visual aspects will be updated. And they're also changing the day that these club challenges are refreshed, and instead of being on a Tuesday, as I just mentioned, this will now run from Thursday to Thursday. So if you do subscribe to me for the weekly challenges, they won't be on Tuesdays anymore, but instead we'll be getting them on Thursdays. Next up, we're going to take a look here at exploits, and we know this has been a big talking point recently, what with deployable shields and claymores. So they say they are continuing to work to address the exploits involving clash, claymores and deployable shields. The final fix should be deployed during the season. In the meantime, they will be pushing a partial fix and additional failsafes that will allow them to re-enable clash, deployable shields and claymores. Yes, everybody cheer, great news. The goal of these failsafes is to make sure that the glitches cannot be exploited even in the chance that they are replicated. So for Clash, they've added a failsafe that resets them back to normal if they activate the glitch. For IQ, they've added the failsafe that turns her visible if she manages to go invisible. And for deployable shields, they've added the failsafe that will not allow players to shoot if they glitch, and the shield will be automatically deployed on the ground after 2 seconds. Absolutely brilliant news. We also know that for the two new operators, Nokk and Warden, they are putting in temporary changes, and Warden will lose his deployable shield but instead will gain 2 impact grenades, and Nokk will lose her claymore but will instead gain 3 stun grenades. And like I say, that change will be in place for the start of the season, but they are going to be restoring their original loadouts during Season 2 once the complete fix is deployed. Which I think is completely understandable. You don't want people going in with these new operators and not even working properly, right? They do also briefly go over some known issues here in these addendum notes, and first up is dropshotting. Yes, if you didn't know, unfortunately dropshotting is back in the game at the moment, and they are aware that players can dropshot with the season update, and they are working on a fix to be released during the season. So if this is something that you do find extremely frustrating, bear with them because there will be a fix coming within this season too. And next up here, it looks like some people may have been experiencing some issues with Bandit and Mute's elite sets. I personally have not seen any issues with it whatsoever, but I'm sure some of you out there have, and they do address it here. So on consoles, the Elite Bandit Chibi Charm and Mute's SMG 11 Royal Fusilier's weapon skin will be temporarily unavailable at Year 4 Season 2's launch. Now, if you are one of those players that do own them, the rest of the Bandit and Mute Elite sets will function normally. However, if the charm or the weapon skin is equipped, it will not show up in the game. They will only be visible in your menu inventory. The Elite Bandit and Mute sets will be temporarily removed from our console shops until the issues are fixed in Year 4 Season 2.1 patch, and they will once again be unlockable after the patch. Now, I know how extremely frustrating this is for those of you that are on console to have this issue going into the new season with the elite sets that you've spent your hard-earned money on. And it's not just that, it seems to be that console players always seem to get the brunt of issues, and not to mention the fact that you don't even have access to the TTS. I really do sympathise for anybody that does play on console. Now, as always, with these patch notes going into a new season, there is a great big list of bug fixes, and rather than go through all of these in this video, because we'll be here for another 3 hours, I'll leave a link in the description down below if you do want to go and read the full patch notes with all the bug fixes. There are a lot in there, but I say the link is down there if you do want to go and check that out. Now, I know it does sound pretty bad going into a new season with all of these bugs in the game, and I'm not denying it, there are a lot of issues within Rainbow Six Siege at the moment. But as I have said in a previous video, what you've got to bear in mind is this game is now into its 4th year. And the trouble is, when they first released Rainbow Six Siege back in the day, they had no idea or no expectation that the game was going to last this long. so the design mechanics of the game were very different back then to how it is now. And I suppose the way to look at it is that they didn't future-proof the game expecting it to go into its 4th year. So these bugs and glitches that do happen within the game, in my opinion, are expectable, and I do think the dev team are doing an absolutely amazing job on getting on top of things and fixing these issues as quick as they can. And like again, as I said in a previous video, that it's not just a simple case of going into the game, changing one tiny little bit of code to fix a problem. What you might find is that changing that one tiny bit of code then has a butterfly effect on a lot of other different things, which exactly what we've seen for Operation Burnt Horizon. They've changed one thing and it has affected a lot of other things. So you've got to bear that in mind. And like I say, I do think on the whole the dev team are doing an amazing job for a game of this age. So while I'm not trying to defend them in any way, I do think that a lot of people just tend to jump on the hate bandwagon and try to sort of put down the game just following the crowd. But it is just a thought, perhaps give them a little bit of a break. We've all got our money's worth out of this game by now, right? But for now, thanks a lot for watching everybody. I do as always appreciate your time. I do hope you have a lot of fun playing this new Operation Phantom Sight in Rainbow Six Siege. Do let me know how you guys are getting on. I hope you enjoy the 2 new operators, Nokk and Warden. But thanks a lot for watching everybody, and until next time, goodbye.